Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am so glad you could join me today. For all you focused learners out there who just love figuring out exactly how complex systems operate, well, today we're decoding one of the most famously rigorous assessments in the entire world, the UPSC Civil Services exam scheme. You know, this isn't just a test. It's honestly an epic, multi-layered blueprint designed to select the administrative backbone of a nation. And today, using the official guidelines, we're going to demystify the whole shebang together. Okay. Let's dive into this. What we're looking at right here is the official government notification, literally the source code for this examination. We are going straight into Section 2 of this document, which lays out the strict scheme and subjects for the preliminary and main examinations. No rumors, no hearsay, just the actual undeniable rules. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll look at the funnel of elimination. Then we'll face the gatekeeper, that's the preliminary exam, and dig into the penalty rules. After that, we'll tackle the marathon main examination, decode that massive general studies syllabus, and finally, calculate the final score.
All right, let's start with the big picture. Section 1, the funnel of elimination.
It is absolutely crucial to understand that the UPSC exam isn't just one long, continuous test. It's a brutal but incredibly logical funnel. It's designed to narrow down hundreds of thousands of applicants across two very distinct stages. Stage 1 is the preliminary examination. This one is entirely objective type, basically multiple choice questions. But here's the huge takeaway. This is purely a screening test. The marks you get here, they do not count towards your final merit. It's all about survival. Stage 2, the main examination, which includes the written essays and the interview, now that is where the real ranking points are actually earned. Let's move along and see how this builds. Section 2. The gatekeeper, the preliminary exam. So, what exactly does it take to survive this gatekeeper? Well, the magic number is 400. The exam consists of 2 compulsory objective-type papers, each worth 200 marks, bringing that maximum total to 400. Candidates sit for each of these papers for exactly 2 hours, and it tests everything from current events and history right down to logical reasoning and data interpretation. But there's a massive catch here, 33%. So the crucial point is that according to the official scheme, General Studies Paper 2 in the prelims is strictly a qualifying paper. You have to secure a minimum of 33% on this specific test. If you don't hit that mark, your journey ends immediately, no matter how brilliantly you might have performed on paper 1. It's a hard, non-negotiable threshold. Which brings us right to Section 3, the penalty rules. Now, because the prelims are multiple choice, you might be thinking you can just kind of guess your way through. Absolutely not. The official rules actively penalize blind guessing. Step 1, for every single wrong answer, 1/3 of the marks assigned to that question are actively deducted. Step 2, hedging your bets by, say, bubbling in more than one answer, that's treated exactly as a wrong answer, triggering that very same penalty. But look at Step 3. If a question is left blank, there is 0 penalty. It's a brilliant way to test risk management. Guessing triggers a trap, but knowing what you don't know, that keeps you safe. Okay, imagine you've survived all that. Welcome to Section 4, the marathon, the main examination. So our candidate has navigated the traps, scored that 33%, and made it through the screening funnel. Welcome to Stage 2. Now, before we even get to the papers that determine your rank, this written exam throws 2 more hurdles at you. Qualifying papers A and B. Paper A requires you to select an Indian language, and paper B is English. Both are worth 300 marks each. The official syllabus notes that these are of matriculation or equivalent standard. You've got to pass these to prove your basic communication competency, but again, and this is key, these 600 marks are not counted for the final merit ranking. Now, what's really interesting here is that we are finally looking at the core of the exam. These are the 7 merit papers that literally determine a candidate's future. You've got an essay paper worth 250 marks, then 4 immense general studies papers, each worth 250 marks, and finally, 2 papers on an optional subject of the candidate's own choosing, also worth 250 marks each. Add all of that up, and the written test total comes to a staggering 1,750 marks. Let's prepare to look under the hood of those specific papers. Section 5, Decoding the General Studies Syllabus. The true heart of that written marathon is the General Studies section. First up, General Studies 1. The official definition covers Indian heritage and culture, alongside the history and geography of the world and society. Just think about the sheer breadth of that for a second. A candidate has to synthesize thousands of years of human history, diverse cultures, and the physical realities of our entire planet, all within a 3-hour conventional essay format. It's wild.
Then we move right into general studies too. This shifts the focus from history to the present-day mechanics of the state. We're talking governance, the Constitution, polity, social justice, and international relations. Basically, this paper rigorously tests the candidate's understanding of the structural, legal, and diplomatic frameworks that hold the entire nation together.
Next is General Studies 3, which pushes candidates into the really complex, dynamic challenges of the modern world. The syllabus explicitly lists technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security, and disaster management. From macroeconomic planning to cybersecurity and climate change, this paper demands a highly analytical grasp of contemporary threats and opportunities.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole vibe of the exam, General Studies IV4. It steps completely away from pure facts and focuses entirely on ethics, integrity, and aptitude. The questions here test the candidate's attitude and approach to issues relating to public life, their problem-solving skills, and their moral compass when faced with conflicts and socioeconomic goals. So it's not just what you know, it's who you are and how you make tough decisions.
Now, while those 4 general studies papers test immense breadth, the scheme also demands specialized depth. Remember those 2 optional subject papers we mentioned? Well, the official notification provides a massive list of choices, from agriculture to zoology, including things like civil engineering, law, medical science, and literature in over 20 different languages. The rules state the scope of these optional subjects is broadly of an honors degree level, so candidates must bring deep, specialized academic rigor to the table right alongside their generalist knowledge.
We're almost at the finish line now. Section 6, the final score.
So after surviving the objective traps of the prelims and the thousands of pages of writing required for the 1750-mark main examination, there's one last critical hurdle. If you qualify through the written test, you are summoned for the personality test, which carries a maximum of 275 marks. The official rules are actually very specific about what these final 275 marks represent. Let me just read you this direct quote. The interview/personality test is intended to judge the mental caliber of a candidate. In broad terms, this is really an assessment of not only intellectual qualities, but also social traits and interest in current affairs. The rules explicitly state it is not a strict cross-examination. Instead, it's a purposive conversation meant to test balance of judgment, intellectual and moral integrity, and the ability for social cohesion and leadership.
And that brings us to the grand total. 1,750 written marks plus 275 interview marks equals 2025. 2,025 marks. Mastering this number requires navigating that entire funnel, from avoiding those 0.33-point objective traps in the beginning to pouring your soul out into subjective essays, all the way to demonstrating your depth of character before a board of observers. It is a truly staggering framework, designed to find the absolute most capable minds. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to think about. Looking at the sheer scale of the preliminary and main exam scheme we just decoded together, do you have the mental endurance, the strategic discipline, and the depth of character required to conquer those 2025 marks? I highly encourage you to dive deeper into the specific syllabus we touched on today. Thank you so much for learning with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.